Welcome back to Robust Gaming Maximum Effort. This is the second part of our Lion El'Jonson model assembly and painting. And we're going to jump right into some of the smaller details on this model now. We've got the main body put together. And because we're going with the box art style on this, we are sticking with the red and gold theme, using Mephiston Red and Kerberg Crimson Wash for the underlay, and Runelord Brass and Retributor Armor again for that gold, while also applying some Egrax Earthshade Gloss Wash to keep that sheen on the metallic pieces. On the back side of the shield, I'm using Talosar Blue for those power nodes to add a bit of a blue glow effect. And then I'm moving on to some of the other basing details, like the Watchers in the Dark, starting off with a Bugman's Glow on the robes, and then I'm going to be coming over these with an Egrax Earthshade to add some depth to that. Now, I've never been a fan of painting heads without helmets, but I thought for this model in particular, I thought the hairstyle and the face, they were just so unique that I had to give it a try. I am doing this on sprue so that I avoid screwing it up too much. I find if I put the head on the model first, it's really hard to get some of those side pieces. So I'm going over this with a bunch of flesh tones and yellows and trying my best to get these eyes as detailed as I can. I used a Runefang steel on the sword, and it did look a little splotchy when I first put it on the black base. After a couple layers, though, I was trying to keep it as thin as possible. It did eventually thin out quite nicely for me, and I had a nice flat effect. And I went over that with that same Talosar blue contrast paint I used on the back of the shield to get a blue glow effect around the power nodes. And then I went back over those power nodes with the Retributor armor to let them stand out on the sword a little bit more. I then moved on to some more basing detail. There's a lot of different little hidden items on the base here you can kind of play with. So I started off with this skeleton statue here. You see a couple of the ceramic tiles I've started to color red and white as well. And then before I put the power pack on the model, I had to get the Lion's Pelt done. So I went over that with initially a base of a mix of Everland Sunset and Xandri Dust, and then used Reichland Flesh Shade to give it the depth that I needed to bring that to life. And once the power pack was attached, I was able to start adding my same metallic effects that I used on the rest of the model. I was using the same mix of a base white and Nuln Oil on the wings. And then I added all the remaining pieces of the armor that needed to be glued on, painted those up, and I used that same Egrax Earthshade gloss on the metallic parts of the backpack to bring that sheen out. And like I said earlier, I was applying Nuln Oil to the white part of the wings to bring some shadows and depth into those as well. I did have a few more details on the basing effects to finish this model off, so things like the banners and the little items that the Watchers in the Dark are holding, and things like the trim on the cloak that I had left to the very end because I didn't want to have to touch over that multiple times to get the model finished. And then I also used that same color to do some highlight touch-ups on all of the metallics to sort of have the edges look a little bit brighter than the rest of the model. And from there, I was finished, and I think I'm pretty happy with this model. It's a really difficult model to put together, and it's a really difficult model to paint, but I think I did the box art as much justice as I am capable of, and I'm really looking forward to getting this model out and trying it out in a few games.